Hello and welcome to another episode of Crypto TV. I'm Ornella Hernandez, here to talk all things Web3 and crypto. On today's show, I will talk about my experience during Token 2049 week in Dubai and the many events that I attended. We also have a special guest, so stay tuned. If you were in Dubai last week like I was, then you can attest to how eventful the week was, to say the least. And I don't mean just full of events, even though it was. It also featured a natural disaster. The show, however, went on. Let me explain. It started off as a normal week, except that the Emirate of Dubai was expecting basically the whole of the crypto and Web3 community to fly into the city for hundreds of scheduled expos, conferences, meetups, and parties. I want to say it was around over 200 scheduled events. And the main event was Token 2049, its first edition in Dubai, in addition to Singapore and London. So people called it Token 2049 week. But this one was like no other blockchain week that I had experienced, at least. You see, the United Arab Emirates experienced the heaviest rainfall it had seen in the past 75 years on Tuesday, April 16, which caused major flooding, delays, and accidents all over the seven Emirates. The storm first hit the country of Oman during the weekend before pounding the seven Emirates with almost a year's worth of rainfall in just under 24 hours. The city has a typical yearly average of 4.7 inches of rain, and it saw more than 5.6 inches of rain last Tuesday. This then caused 1,478 flights to and from Dubai to be canceled in the following 3 days up until Friday. So that's approximately 30% of all flights to Dubai, according to the flight tracking website Flight Radar 24. And Emirates, which is Dubai's main flight carrier, is now operating its flights as scheduled again, and it offered its sincerest apologies to those whose plans were disrupted. So for those that did make it to Dubai, there were some major horror stories of people having to walk miles in knee-deep water, those who got stuck in traffic and in water and in floods for hours, and those that were evacuated from their homes and hotels due to water damage to the buildings. It was as if Dubai was telling everyone to calm down and stay home instead of going to all of these events. But hey, DGen's got a DGen, right? And of course, Web3 TV was there along the way. We had a presence at Blockchain Life, Global Blockchain and AI Show, Token 2049, ArtStyle, and even a crypto-themed polo match. We were media partners. So I'm going to give you a little rundown of some of these events, starting with Global Blockchain and AI Show. So on the Tuesday of the storm, the Web3 TV team braved the weather and ventured to the Global Blockchain and AI Show. Because things started off a bit later and less people than expected made it out to the hotel venue, there were 2 stages instead of 4. One was dedicated to blockchain topics and the other dedicated to artificial intelligence talks. So I had some really quality interviews there. And first off, I got to learn a bit more about the DPIN narrative, which is a narrative that I've been hearing a lot about recently. So DPIN is an acronym that stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. And according to the co-founder of DPIN Hub, Daniel Andrade, here's what it's all about.
For those who don't know Helium, for example, you buy these little antennas, like a wireless antenna that you put in your house, and you provide wireless coverage for your neighborhood. And by doing this kind of work, Helium pay you back in tokens, and that's how we got started. Like, we built the infrastructure for the whole Lisbon city, so everywhere you go in Lisbon, you're going to have coverage for Helium IoT devices. And that's when it sparked this initiative. Okay, there's a lot of other projects that you can do. There's Natix, for example. You're driving your car, you put your smartphone on the dash camera, and you're recording when you drive, and analyzes everything you're doing. You can build some sort of like real life Google Street View that updated every day, right? It's basically, there's a lot of services that people can. It's like a Uber for infrastructure, but then to facilitate the payment rails, you do tokens instead of like fiat, like regular cash, right? And there's a lot of new companies coming with different ways, building some sort of infrastructure. I like to say Helium was the fastest rollout of any sort of infrastructure in history, where they deployed 1 million hotspots in like 2 to 3 years. But now there's like energy projects, there's like some sort of like decentralized storage, decentralized GPU, which is a pretty big one. It's a big narrative that we've been following with the increase of AI. And there's a it's really hard for companies to get access to graphic cards. So a lot of people who play games that have these graphic cards sitting in their computers, like when they're sleeping, when they're not using, why not just turn on these graphic cards into work that you can do when you're asleep? It's processing some stable diffusion images, LLM models, and those projects pay you for using your resource, right?
So basically, it's an increasingly popular application of blockchain that tries to incentivize people to use the physical, everyday hardware devices that we use anyways, like our phones or our computers, and incentivizes and gives us rewards in crypto. So if you're interested in learning more about this, and stay tuned for today's guest on Crypto TV, who will speak to the subject more. Now, while there at the show, I also spoke to Dr. Divya Chandra, who gave a very interesting talk up on the AI stage entitled, "Can You Read My Mind? The Promises and Perils of AI Decoding in the Brain." So Dr. Divya is an MD, a PhD, a neuroscientist, a physician, and she also presents herself as a medical futurist. I had to ask what this means.
It means that I am a science fiction writer in the body of an actual scientist and doctor. I think most science fiction writers have gotten it right. I mean, they imagine futures that haven't necessarily yet happened, but where the science is going, and then they imagine us with our humanness in those futures. And so I try to imagine what a world is going to look like with all this new tech. So.
She also taught me about something called neurorights, basically the protection against the potential misuse or abuse of neurotechnology. It's another human right, essentially. And here's what she had to say about it.
Fight very hard for neural rights, the ability to protect people from unwanted intrusion into their brain. So you can't read from or write to someone's brain without consent, informed consent. And I've worked with the Australian Human Rights Commission, with the United Nations. The United Nations is actually considering, we wrote a document for them, taking neural rights and making it part of the Declaration on Human Rights. And Chile is the first country in the world which has a Bill of Neural Rights as part of the Constitution.
Wow, I'm learning about this. This is really interesting. Okay.
Really interesting. Look, your neural code and your genetic code are the two most important codes of life you have. And if they can be taken from you, you really feel like you've been completely violated your personhood. And so protecting that, I think it's a really important thing. So it's not that technology shouldn't advance, but we should be at the same time considering, how do we use it for good? How do we not store data we don't need to? And how do we always ensure people have agency?
Creepy stuff, if you ask me. Make sure to watch the full interview that I did with Dr. Divya and with Daniel from Deepin Hub. And especially if you're interested in these topics, and also go check out my interviews with Crypto Megan, who is a popular social media personality. And I even spoke to the VP of Product at the Everything app, Kareem, for those Kareem users out there. So go watch on YouTube, on Web3 TV. The links are in the description. Now on to the next event, Token 2049. This was a large event, folks. It took over the Madinat Jumeirah venue in Dubai, for those who know it, and it included a full expo hall, 3 stages, and it had an outside activity area with llamas and camels. Yep, you missed out on petting llamas and camels if you didn't go to Token 2049 in Dubai. Look at these images of the 2-day conference. Despite the rain 2 days prior and the fact that roads were still affected, the conference opened to a full house. The expected attendance was around 10,000 guests, and tickets had sold out nearly 3 weeks prior to the event. So I want to say that the final numbers were definitely around the 10,000 person mark. But this is significant because it was the first time that Token 2049 was held in Dubai. It's originally from Singapore, and it considers itself one of the industry's largest international gatherings, with around 20,000 attendees in Singapore. The Dubai edition was also packed. Like, I had to push people around with my arms just to get by because it was so crowded on day one, and all day too, morning to night. I have to say that it really showcased the growing reputation of Dubai as a hub for crypto and Web3, and it cemented the event itself, Token 2049, as a not-to-be-missed event in the crypto calendar. So while I was at Token, I spoke to Paolo Ardoino, who is the CEO of Tether. And Tether had just made the announcement on stage that its USDT stablecoin will launch on TON, the open network. and the Telegram wallet. So here's what Paolo told me about it.
With outside the reserves, right, with our own profits that are becoming quite important nowadays, we invested in renewable energy production, Bitcoin mining to help the decentralization of Bitcoin mining, in peer-to-peer communication tools to disintermediate communication. See the pattern. So we reinvest our profits. We don't have to buy yachts for ourselves. We don't have to do that stuff for ourselves. We are simple people. We just care about keep doing what we have been doing for the last 10 years. Disintermediation, helping people, helping our community, and giving back to in all the other industries that are complementary to the financial industry.
I also asked him about the future of stablecoin usage, and here's what he had to say.
So I think the stablecoin industry showed the importance of disintermediation and the importance of being able to give a checking account to every single person in the world. So with USDT, no matter where you are, if you are in an emerging market, you are part of the unbanked crowd. You know that in certain countries there are even 70% of the population that don't have a bank account. Not because they are bad people, just because they are too poor of being interest of the banking industry. If your salary is $100, $200, $300 per month, you don't have big savings, and the bank can make too little money on your account, so they will not bank you. And that is a common story of all the countries that we work in. That's why Tether market cap is growing, because we understand the needs of people.
Then I spoke to a founder who traveled all the way from Mexico and is leading the Utopia ecosystem. And its aim is, it's doing something a bit controversial. It's creating crypto wallets for kids, for children. The company's ethos is crypto for every age at every stage. Listen up to hear what Emmanuel had to say.
Yeah, right now I want to save the space and I want to onboard kids into the Web3 as safe as possible. I don't want to repeat the same mistakes as Web2.
Okay. So is onboarding children a way to save the space? What does it need saving from?
Well, like Web2 right now, it's making everyone addicted to social media. It's making everyone addicted to watch funny content that in the end is quite useless. And the kids right now are getting exposed to adult content, and no one is regulating that. So if we provide a wallet and the infrastructure for the kids to get onboarded, guess what? We can control what they see and what they cannot see.
Okay, that's interesting. Do we think that minors should be introduced to crypto and all these tools at an early age? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you attended Token 2049 in Dubai, also let me know and tell me what you thought about it. Would you go back next year? Because it will be returning to Dubai in 2025. Or will you attend the Singapore edition in September later this year? Hey, maybe I'll see you there. Now, a few other things also took place last week, namely the Bitcoin halving. And here's a few fun facts about it. The first post-halving block generated 37,626 BTC, which is worth $2.4 million in fees. Let me break this down. One Bitcoin block gets mined about every 10 minutes. So on average, each of these blocks contains 2,000 plus transactions. And whenever a halving happens, everyone races to get their transactions in the first post-halving block. It's like the crypto version of saying, I was there too. Well, check this out. The first block ended up generating $2.4 million in fees. A new record, folks. One person even paid $700,000 to get their transaction on this first block. Talk about commitment. Before the halving, the average transaction fee was around $20. After the halving, it jumped to as high as $240. So Bitcoin fees have spiked after the halving. Not great for users, but good for miners. Hey, they're making more money than before the halving, which is the opposite of what was expected because their mining rewards get cut in half, hence the name, the halving. This time around, however, miners are making more money than before and raking in millions in transaction fees apparently. So instead of revenue getting cut in half, it 5x'd. We'll have to wait and see how long this can last, and we'll have to see how well Bitcoin will perform moving forward. So what about you guys? Are you still bullish on BTC? I know I am. And you know what I'm also bullish on? Blockchain and crypto events continuing, but getting a little more creative and thinking outside of the box. I say this because to round out my Token 2049 week experience in Dubai, I attended a polo match. But not just any polo match, it was crypto themed. Thanks to the company Luna PR for organizing this fun Saturday afternoon and for having Web3 TV attend, we got a front row seat to the matches. And it was crypto companies that sponsored the team. So first up there was Ubit, who sponsored Camel Polo. I didn't even know that that was a thing. Then there was Bitcoin.com versus Shib.io and ChainSwap versus Solana. And in the final match, it was between Bitcoin.com and ChainSwap. Bitcoin.com came out victorious, and here's what one of the winning players had to say.
Tell me what this connection is between Web 2 and Web 3.
So I believe the whole technology community should be one. So we wanted, today a lot of the guests are from Web 2 traditional businesses, and we would like them to interact with the Web 3 community and potentially do a lot of things together.
When can we see you play next?
I'm here almost every day.
Who would have thought that horses and polo would be a bridge between Web 2 and Web 3? I guess as more and more crypto companies sponsor sporting matches and tournaments, think F1, which is already full of crypto sponsorships, this will become a mainstream thing. But until then, let's hear from a special guest today on Crypto TV. You don't want to miss it. Our special guest on Crypto TV today is Michael Robinson, who is the chairman of the ORT Foundation. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I am well. I am recovering from last week and Dubai Blockchain Week or Token 2049 week. How about you?
Same. I mean, it's been very busy, really hectic, lots of people to, connect with. Was a bustling city.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Noise. Yeah.
Tell me, do you have any horror stories from the storm?
Of course I do. So I flew in on Tuesday. A friend picked me up in his new car, and we ended up getting stuck in a pool of water.
Oh my God.
The lovely neighbors of that local street just basically, they were very friendly. They tied a piece of rope to the front of our car and the back of their car and pulled us out. And we were stranded for about 6 hours.
Oh my God.
Stayed at a stranger's house. And we got rescued by someone from another emirate. in an SUV.
Oh, because you were in Sharjah probably if you were coming from the airport.
Well, no, they came from Sharjah to come and rescue us.
Oh my God. Well, thank the Lord for Good Samaritans. Glad that you were okay and that you made it and you were still able to get through last week. So share with me some of the highlights then that you had from either any conference that you went to or side events that you attended.
Sure. So ETH Dubai was definitely a highlight. I did speak there as well, and I loved the basic ambiance that was there. Tons of people to connect with that are working on projects, developers as well. For side events, I went to AI and Singularity, I believe it was.
Singularity Net?
No, it wasn't Singularity Net. It was like IOV Ventures. I can't remember their name. But yeah, they put on a pretty good AI and Singularity side event and made some real strong relationships that I think will be helpful for the ORT ecosystem.
Okay, amazing.
Likewise at ETH Dubai too.
So was it worth the struggle and the rain and the travels? Was all those events worth it in the end?
It's always worth coming to Dubai first, right? And second, getting to meet all these people. My Telegram is ruined, right? So I will be in touch with everyone probably in a couple of weeks because I've got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, following up is a whole other job.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it was definitely worth it.
Okay, amazing. So Michael, what was your mission coming to Dubai and what was ORT's mission as well?
Well, really, I was trying to just find more developers that we can onboard into our ecosystem and scale out the whole activity and engagement. ORT is a layer 1. My main goal was also to bring more exposure to ORT. So Dr. Max Lee, founder, CEO, and myself were very active with panels and making sure to run around in the city, meeting people to, expand our network and relationships here.
Okay, so let's get into that a little bit more. You said that ORT is a layer 1, but what exactly differentiates you guys from other layer 1s out there, and what's the vision behind ORT?
So essentially, ORT is a decentralized, verifiable cloud compute platform for AI applications. Our focus is on DePIN and also decentralized AI. So we do have a decentralized cloud. It's a 3-tiered architecture, which is essentially supernodes. We have over 43 large data centers in our network, partnerships with Tencent, Seagate, AliCloud, and we also have what we call our local nodes, which are edge devices the size of Apple TVs that our community members can participate in storage up to 1 terabyte while also mining ORT. And then there's an aggregation of decentralized clouds under one roof, first movers with their own chain.
Okay.
So all of that is integrated in our ecosystem. Data is typically sharded throughout the 3 architectures that I just mentioned. And 1/3 of our infrastructure needs to be up for you to be able to pull data from.
Okay, so lots to unpack there. First, you said decentralized cloud storage. So can we compare this to like Amazon Web Services, or is it more of like a Filecoin, like a storage system?
So it's a WAGMI approach, right? So on the decentralized cloud side, Filecoin, IPFS, essentially Arweave, all can be integrated.
Okay.
The user experience is definitely like AWS on the front end.
Okay. And then, so there's decentralized cloud, but then there's also decentralized artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Okay, so how do these systems compare to centralized AI or centralized cloud?
So very good question. So what we are solving for is the black box centralized 1% that is actually rolling out the future of AI. You've got these private institutions investing in these, I should say large financial private institutions that are investing in these.
So we're talking Google, Microsoft, giants.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. Giants, monolith. In the, for instance, Gemini, OpenAI, and none of these are really open to the public. However, the public's data is being used to train their models and more, right, against your consent. So essentially, we're building out a decentralized AI where the public can actually, I would say the 99% can participate in training the AI algorithm.
Okay.
And the storage, our decentralized storage, also assists in distribution and provenance of data.
Okay, so what kinds of tools are we looking at here? Is it like LLMs like ChatGPT?
LLM.
Or, okay.
Yes. So we're building our own LLM, a decentralized LLM, that the 99% across the world would be able to participate in. So our first product that we're set to go live with in the coming days, I should say weeks, will be with, I can't say the name, but...
Okay, just tell us what it is then.
So essentially it's helping a company in space with training the data, pre-processing data. So what we're looking at is having end users with their mobile devices, which would be the edge device, to be able to pre-process data, and we would distribute our network throughout on a global scale.
The Edge is the
Edge
Android phone?
would be, well, basically it's a smartphone.
Oh,
so
okay.
Edge devices, you'd be able to store data locally. So you'd be able to store the data on your phone, and the embedded vectors is what we'd be using to train our AI.
What kinds of data are we talking about exactly?
Pictures to start.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
pictures to start.
Okay, and you're helping a company in space, you said.
Well, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. So I'm going to follow up on that because that sounds really interesting.
Please do, because it's going to be a large reveal coming down the pike. So
Okay.
we've been very hush-hush about this because we believe that this is going to be something that will get humanity involved in the future of space exploration.
Okay, through pictures at
Yeah,
the beginning.
as simple as using your smartphone to help with data pre-processing.
Okay, okay. Now, something else that you mentioned in your intro spiel of ORT was DPIN. So this is a narrative that more people are talking about recently, but it's not new. It's not new to Web3. It's not native to Web3 either. It's this idea of decentralized physical infrastructure networks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to hear if you could first just maybe you can describe it to our audience, but then how ORT is utilizing or leveraging DPIN tech.
Yeah, sure. So decentralized physical infrastructure network is essentially the ability for edge devices, whether that be your smartphone, PC, tablet, to actually participate in an on-chain ecosystem, i.e. ORT. So the way we're leveraging DPIN is having our community members, first off, distribute them through tasks. We're going to continuously just basically share new tasks with the community. They'll have incentives, whether that be an NFT or ORT tokens, for them to complete these tasks, and
So
they can use
tasks like what?
Tasks like go to your local, stop sign in your neighborhood, take a picture, upload it into our ecosystem,
Okay.
right? And
So that picture gets stored
that
on your
picture
database.
gets stored on our database.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they get rewarded in ORT coins.
Yes, ORT coins, ORT tokens, or NFTs, because there will be tiers of tasks that they need to complete, and depending on the quality and the valuable, or how valuable that task is. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting. All right, so what else? Can you give me some more examples? Not necessarily specific to ORTs, but other examples that you've seen of tech, of DPIN tech.
Yeah, so I think DPIN is not new, as you shared earlier, but if you take a look at your cell phone, right, we are already using DPIN technology. Take a look at your Instagram, take a look at your Twitter as you're uploading pictures of yourself and data as well. The only difference here is all that information that you uploaded, you're not incentivized for, right? And we don't know where that data is being stored and how it's being used, potentially even against you, right?
Okay.
So what we are building is a more transparent experience where end users, our community members, would be incentivized, and there's also consent, right?
So why does this matter in the first place? Why is this something important to ORTs, and why should it be important for regular users out there?
Very good question. I think data sovereignty is everything moving forward. Every time you interact with technology, you create new data, right? And that data is being used to typically market to you.
Right.
But now, if you're incentivized, right, and you give your consent for that data to be used, first off, you know what's being used on you, and also you're getting paid for that as well.
Okay. So that's the incentive. I'm being rewarded for using things that I already use on a daily basis anyways.
And that's just the low-hanging fruit. We can expand even more, but yes.
To space.
Right.
Okay. Okay, amazing, Michael. So how did you get into this world in the first place? I know that you started off as a Bitcoin investor, but how did it lead from you becoming an investor to then chairman at Ort, and then I also know you have another hat. You are a partner at a VC firm.
Yes.
And you co-founded this VC firm. So tell me a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, my journey was not the typical. So long story short, I did an apprenticeship with a man that was 47 years my senior, became my very best friend.
Mentor.
A mentor, right? But I forgot that he was much older than me because we hung out 24/7, 365. So yeah, I was convinced to do this apprenticeship, and it was in large international infrastructure financing. But that was where I learned macro trends research and how to identify opportunities before they go mainstream. Bitcoin being one of them. Did a dissertation in 2015, just full research and write up on Bitcoin, and we decided to start acquiring Bitcoin in early 2016 at $200. I was one of those lunatics that was running around telling everyone,
Go buy Bitcoin.
We're going to 20,000, and that was 2016. And here we are. Now I'm saying we're going to 100,000, and
hopefully
we will. Just a matter of time. So that led me into, as an autodidact, studying Bitcoin and Ethereum, an evangelist. I started helping people with their startups in the crypto space, and met some really amazing people down the line along the way. Francis Burwa, Yao Tong, Kevin Valentine, and we together spun up Avis Lear. It's an early stage Web3 VC. And our focus is on infrastructure, dApps, things that are going to help expand the ecosystem for Web3. I'm a large proponent of Bitcoin and Bitcoin principles.
Okay, why specifically Bitcoin then compared to Ethereum or other altcoins?
Well, Ethereum's right there, but Bitcoin being the very first, and it's the antithesis to central banking, right? Also, it was meant to be the people's money, so peer-to-peer, right? I think peer-to-peer is huge moving forward, and I really enjoy and like the consensus mechanism. What I really appreciate most about Bitcoin, there are no CEOs, there's no marketing team, right? It's just people participating in this ecosystem and the direction of Bitcoin. So as we saw in 2022, like there was a huge washout of like companies in the space, and Bitcoins still thrive.
Right.
Yeah.
You mean post-FTX debacle? Yeah.
What, Voyager,
right.
Celsius, Terra Luna.
Yeah,
it was
that was
like
a tough year.
Non-stop, right?
Yeah.
But here we are. Wall Street now endorsing Bitcoin with the spot ETFs.
Yep.
Ordinals before the spot ETFs.
Do you think that this activity on Bitcoin and BRC20 is a good thing, is a positive thing?
Yeah, I definitely do. So one of my concerns in the past was when you look at Bitcoin, there are 21 million to be mined by the year 2140. 21 million Bitcoin, I mean, one Bitcoin is what, $67,000 at this moment?
Around there, yeah.
And what I like about ordinals is essentially 100 million Satoshis make one Bitcoin.
Right.
Similarly, like 100 pennies make a dollar. I'm from the US. But now you can embed data into each of these Satoshis and make it identifiable, unique, and tradable. So now instead of looking at Bitcoin as 21 million, you're looking at it as 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis, right? So now the barrier of entry has been lowered for the average person to finally come into the space. I think it's a game changer.
Do you own any ordinals?
Oh yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
Can you give a shout out to any projects?
Oh yeah, track.network, Benny the Dev, I think what they're building there, DeFi on Bitcoin with Tap Pipe is going to be huge. I do like Ghosty Cash.
Okay.
Being able to
I gotta check these out.
Yeah, you'll be able to swap, I mean, from an ordinal to like, I think it's like 95 different coins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. It's basically like an atomic swap with the shape shift experience. So
Okay.
yeah. I love the innovation that's taken place on Bitcoin. Plus, post halving, there was
Yes.
a new token standard that launched for meme coins on
Runes.
Bitcoin, runes.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I don't think they're working on anything too new. It's what I liked about BRC20 was how under the radar it was, and basically the organic community came. So Domo launched Ordi, and it was minted out in hours, maybe a day. But Runes, man, it's just pandemonium. And there's all these scams that's, surrounding this. So unfortunately, meme coins on Bitcoin, I hope we'll do a little bit better, right? Because Bitcoin has the potential to change the course of history for humanity.
I love that. I love that. Bitcoin will change the course of history for humanity. Amazing. All right, so one last question for you, Mike. What is the best way for someone to reach out to you, learn more about you, and learn more about ORT?
Yes, you can follow us on our socials. Twitter, I'm very active there at ORTChair, OORTCHAIR, and ORTech, OORTECH.
Okay, amazing. Everybody go check out ORT, go follow Michael, and stay tuned for more news coming out of ORT very, very soon.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time today, Mike.
Thank you, Ornella.
And everyone stay tuned for the rest of Crypto TV.
Today in the crypto market, Bitcoin is currently trading at $63,434. Ether's price is at $3,098 today. Sol is down 9% this past week and trading now at $143.56, while Dogecoin is up nearly 1.05% in the past week.
That is all for today on Crypto TV. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I want to hear what you think about all of these events that I went to. Please watch the recaps. Please watch the full interviews up on Web3 TV's YouTube channel, whether you're interested in learning more about Token 2049 or the Crypto Polo Cup. Let me know what you think and if there's anything that you guys would like me to cover in the future. Until then, see you guys later.